KTGR, The Big Show, starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brendan Schaefer, producer Ben here. Loaded show, man. Over-unders, Mizzou basketball, second halves in particular, and play fade eliminate. Lots to get to today, man.
Yeah, there is a lot to get to. We got to talk about that basketball game for sure, because I was like mid-game, I was like, I think I have to.
You were doom and gloom.
I was doom and gloom because I hated the way that they were playing in every aspect other than shooting the three-pointer, which they were otherworldly in. And then they just turned into the Harlem Globetrotters and made Minnesota look like a high school team for the last 12 or 13 minutes of the game. So we'll talk about Mizzou basketball.
Yeah.
Catch the fever.
Yeah.
Give us something.
Give us your thoughts on Mizzou basketball here in a few minutes. 573-875-KTGR is the number you call or text us at. We'll have Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune joining us at 425 as well to talk about Mizzou football and hoops. And, maybe even if we have time, some Brendan Donovan trade talk.
Oh, no.
Brendan's favorite topic.
No, it's not, but it's a necessary one if we want to be accurate and honest about what's going on with the Cardinals.
So give us your thoughts on that. 875-KTGR. We're also live on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you don't already. All of our big shows are here, including much more as well. Leave a comment. You can give us a like as well. And also we're live on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, The Big Show's Big Deal.
Mizzou used the 28-4 run in the second half to surge past Minnesota 83-60. First half, they struggled. They trailed by as many as 9 points, ended up leading at halftime by 2, but really turned on the Jets in the second half as they shot 50% from three, 59% from the field. Mark Mitchell led with 18 points, 5 Tigers in double-figure scoring as Mizzou improves to 4-0 on the season. Next game is Monday of next week as they take on Prairie View A&M at Mizzou Arena. Mizzou football getting set for Mississippi State this Saturday. Langdon Kitchen, one of their pass rushers, will be out for the game, according to the SEC availability report from last night. Tight end Brett Norfleet questionable. Quarterback Bo Prabula doubtful for the Saturday's game. And that is the Big Show's big deal on this 13th day of November, 2025. You can call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. It's better than out.
Hey, my experience with Mizzou quarterbacks being doubtful, they simply play that week. So
that's very true.
I don't know if there's that same level of trickery going on this time around. I wish, though, I want to be very clear. I would love to see Bo Prabula playing. It's not to say that I'm like out on Matt Zollers from one bad game, but I think Bo Prabula got a bad rap too from people kind of reacting to the way things were going. Bo Prabula being healthy would be awesome. It was devastating to see that injury in Nashville, and the idea that it wouldn't be a long-term one for him would be great. Surprised that he's listed doubtful. I bet the next one will have him out. That's my prediction.
Yeah, probably.
Like, they're just sowing that seed of like, hey, you never know. But I think
it could be a sign of progress in his rehab, and they shared an update on that before last weekend's game, that he was in the walking boot. He got to be on the sideline for the game, which was good. I don't know what it means for the rest of the season. I still think the expectation should be that Matt Zollers will play the rest of the season, but you never know.
I'd be surprised if Bo makes it back regular season, but I would be pleasantly surprised. Like I would welcome that. And look, then they can decide whatever they want to do. But the idea that his injury, which looked very scary when it happened, if it's only a 4-week injury or whatever, like that would be really cool for him. So I would be all about that. I am skeptic. The doubtful was fun to see today, I guess, or last night rather. But I don't know that it means anything.
573-875-KTGR. Okay, so last night's Mizzou basketball game, Brenden tweeting in the middle of it. And you know how that goes.
We do know how that goes. I don't really take back a lot of what I said, though. It was a surreal game, and we can talk about what I said because I think I outlined from the first half to like early second half where there were 3 straight possessions where they just gave up a dunk, like 3 possessions in a row. I think that's around the time that I was feeling at my lowest watching this team. I said they don't defend. They flail to get into foul trouble. They can't or won't rebound. Awful rebounding instinct yet again from a Dennis Gates team. What was the rebounding margin? I think it was like 13-0 on offensive rebounds in the first half, something to that effect. They were getting punished on the glass, and they're the bigger team. Like, Mizzou has really good size, but they don't rebound. I don't know if it's that they can't, they won't, they don't care to. I said they constantly are turning the ball over. They still don't make free throws consistently, although it ended up being okay last night, I guess. Flow of the offense in the half court isn't there. And I said a lot of the times, Andy, they do hit some threes to bail out everything else. But if they're not hitting threes, I worry for what the path to victory is going to be. I said on Twitter, it's going to be limited on the night that they stop hitting the threes. And then I said, I don't know if I want to emotionally invest. I'm going to watch every single game. I'm going to be into it. But the fundamental basketball was really porous in the first half, man, and early portions of the second half. Now, they might be a top 5 to 10 team in the nation at scoring the basketball. They are special with the three-point shooters that they have. Jacob Cruz looks really good. I still love what I'm seeing from a Jaden Stone. Mark Mitchell getting to the rim and making the ball go through, through contact a lot of the times. They're special scoring the ball. These are the athletes. This is the way that Dennis Gates wants to play, Andy. I still am feeling like we're going to go through a whole basketball season of wondering, like, is this going to hold up as a style when we get to NCAA tournament type of environments? Because last year against Drake, the style was a problem. And I think it's kind of the same style of team this year with some of the same deficiencies that we would have pointed out. Now, they ultimately held Minnesota to 60 points. The effort in the second half was fantastic. What did you say, 28-4?
Yeah.
But I also look at that and say, I don't know if Minnesota is winning a conference game this year. Like, I don't know how good that team is.
Oh, they will. Here's my take on Minnesota. They're not a tournament team. The way that they were positioned by the metrics before this game and after this game, they would not be in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they're that good. They will be the reason why somebody else doesn't, though.
Okay.
So they have enough games. They play in a tough conference, the Big Ten. They will have enough games to where they will have a chance to hang what could be perceived as a bad loss for another team late in the season and maybe creep their way towards the bubble, but they'll finish on the wrong side. Bottom line, they have deficiencies, no doubt. And this was their first test too. And they shot really poorly from 3-point and even worse than Mizzou did from the free throw line. There's that.
I think we played better defense, Andy, but I also think I don't want to look too much into that because they shot they were building neighborhoods down the stretch of that game.
There were not very many possessions in this game, only 62 possessions. Each one of Mizzou's games up to this point, I believe, had at least 72. And so slower paced game.
You liked 90-81 to your point. Like, we thought it would be a little bit more up and down.
If it was up more to Mizzou's pace, Mizzou would have gotten to 90, but they were really efficient with the possessions that they got. And so here's what blows my mind. Yeah, all those offensive rebounds that Minnesota got, they got 14 offensive rebounds. Mizzou got 3, but Mizzou still won the second chance points battle. Mizzou got 3 offensive rebounds and they got 9 second chance points. So they got threes on all of their offensive rebounds.
An 8-point possession at one juncture.
Yeah,
like they made a basket, they got fouled, they missed a free throw, they got the ball back, they made a basket, they got fouled, they missed I think they had like a 6 or 8 point possession, like without giving the ball up. And I think there was a TV timeout maybe in the middle of it. Like it was insanity.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much to attribute that to Minnesota versus to Missouri. Now, Minnesota, very well coached. Nico Medved, their coach, was at Colorado State for a long, long time, made the tournament in 3 of his final 4 years there. Out in the Mountain West. So I think he's a really good coach that is going to get him up and running. But I felt like Mizzou's really good run offensively coincided with Minnesota just wilting like a dead flower when the first freeze of winter happens. Like it was just a mismatch that took, 27 or so minutes to reveal itself last night. Mizzou, if they hadn't been shooting the lights out, Andy, they would have been down 8 to 10 points in this game before that run began because they were shooting like 53% from 3 at the point at which it was basically a tie game early in the second half. And I'm like, if you're only shooting 38% or 40% from three, you're looking at like a 7-point deficit at that point going, well, what are we doing against this team? Ultimately, it was a dominant win, and they blasted up the Ken Pom rankings because of it. Am I crazy to say I would have rather I mean, you're getting nitpicky when you win by 23. I realize what I'm about to say is going to be, people are going to say, oh, come on. I would have rather seen a more even performance through 40 minutes than kind of really frustrating basketball for a while and then looking like a one seed in the NCAA tournament for the final 8 minutes. Or really it was more like 12 minutes or so that they were able to do that. But that was my one thing, is like I do still have the same concerns from the first half, but I know their ceiling is going to be pretty high. They can unlock a really high ceiling when they're playing their style to its fullest. And we saw that unfold toward the end of the game.
Call or text us 573-875-KTGR with your thoughts on Mizzou basketball. Daniel saying, for the first time ever, Gates made second half adjustments at halftime. I'm honestly more optimistic now because I feel like we have more shooters this year compared to last year. It was Bates and Grill. Mark is a given, but really only had two main scorers last year. Very impressed with Stone and Northweather so far. Yeah, I mean, Luke Northweather played 20 minutes and gave him some good production when he was called upon.
He had a few nice moments,
threes, right?
He did. And like, I think we knew he was going to be kind of a shooter that would love a chance to show that off. And early, he's shooting the lights out from three. I don't know if that's going to maintain. But yeah, he did. He looked good. The adjustments, I would have to look down at the minutes breakdown to see exactly the way it changed from the first half to the second. But I noticed, like, with Anthony Robinson, for example, and I don't know, did he play a ton down the stretch as the Tigers were making that comeback? He played 26 minutes, I'm looking at the log.
Yeah.
But most of those minutes, I feel like, came in the first half, whereas a guy like T.O. Barrett didn't play much in the first half, and it seems like he'll come on the floor and will make a mistake. We'll have a kind of a boneheaded turnover, and then the next time you see him on screen, it's Coach Gates kind of with his arm around him. They're talking about it on the bench, and then he's going to go take a seat. Like, They've been pretty quick with the trigger on T.O. Barrett, but I think they gave him a little bit more time last night as that game went along to kind of get into his rhythm. And I think a guy like him needs that. Like, I don't want to see a season where T.O. Barrett is relegated to kind of just, okay, you're going to get your shot, and if you mess it up, that's it for the night. Like, you're not going to play very much. Like, I think he's a talented player that needs to have an opportunity to spread his wings, even through some of those mistakes, because Anthony Robinson has had some very erratic moments as well. And I almost feel like the gap should be bridged a little bit between those two. I know Robinson has to be like an engine to this team, but I'm not really going to count out T.O. Barrett as somebody that, if given a little bit of that opportunity, could do it as well. And I think we saw more Jaden Stone down the stretch, to your point, Northweather. Like, maybe if anything, the adjustments were in who was out there and who was kind of guiding not the comeback, but guiding the pull away was a little bit different.
T.O. Barrett played 13 minutes in the second half, which was the majority of where his minutes were. Anthony Robinson played 8. So you're right. Robinson wasn't playing as much in the second half. Jacob Cruz played a lot of the second half, and
he was 4 for 6 from 3.
I mean, he was great. Like, that's
and he brought, he brought a little bit of edge on the rebounding department.
8 rebounds, led the team in rebounds.
I don't care who it could be. Like, listen, I came into the year sort of thinking about this team. Now, granted, I thought we'd have Boateng. I thought we'd have Trent Pierce. Who knows? But I kind of came in thinking I'm a little nervous about the minutes jump that we might see for Jacob Cruz, because it seemed like he would kind of be a guy that last year when he would come in, he's trying to take over the game. Maybe there's going to be a no, yes type of shot that he attempts, maybe more than once. But he's also a rhythm player. And so I guess with Andy more of an opportunity to kind of spread his wings, it should be applicable to him, similarly to T.O. Barrett, although T.O. Barrett is a much younger gentleman, and probably the experience for him is expected to be more erratic. But what I'll say for Jacob Cruz, I am tired of watching this team with size not rebound. And so if he's going to be the answer to effort on the glass, then put him in. I don't care who it is. I want to see some effort in the rebounding department. And I don't know if it's going to be like a Trent Pierce comes in and he can be a spark plug for that, but they've got too much size to be where they are in rebounding. And I know year after year, it's not something they prioritize based on their style of play. This has been a topic every year that Coach Gates has been here, Andy. I don't love it because I think it gets you in trouble if you don't have the ability to say, hey, what we're doing is not really working, and we need to be more present on the glass to take advantage of these opportunities.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. I think this is a fair criticism from Dan. To me, the issue with Gates teams is we play the pace the other team dictates. We play better fast, but not push the pace to do so consistently. Yeah, we see Mizzou push the pace in, I think, the majority of its games, but when they run into a team that's just a slog, all right, Drake, at Minnesota last night, very slow paced team, then yeah, it does get slowed down to whatever they do. It just it's incumbent upon Mizzou to still be efficient offensively with how they work their possessions,
and that's tough though because they're not a great half court team. I mean, they
showed it yesterday. They were pretty good, but either way,
they really do shoot the heck out of the basketball. I mean, they've got some scorers on this team. They really do, but it's not that, fundamental version of basketball where, I don't know, maybe I'm being unfair in the critique because again, I don't have anything negative to say about the way they scored the ball. I just don't know if it's sustainable. Maybe it is because they're that athletic and they're that good in that department. But again, I think what we saw for about 25 minutes last night against a slower paced team, like you say, when that team is making its shots at a requisite rate and they're kind of taking us out of what we want to do, which is like, we're okay eschewing some rebounding stuff because we're always trying to be getting out in transition. If we give up a bucket, that's okay. We expect to score within the next 12 seconds to basically erase that bucket. And so that's a fun way to play. I'm sure the players enjoy it. That's why Gates is kind of that player's coach. And that's why he signed the #1 recruiting class in the nation over the past 2 days. Jason Crow Jr. inking earlier this afternoon. Like, I totally get it. I just wish there could be a little bit more of that balance because I don't know if we're going to be talking any differently about this team when they get into an NCAA tournament situation and they're up against this year's version of Drake. Like, we got to really care about the matchup. We got to be looking for a team that's going to be a top 25 tempo and then say, great, all that team wants to do is exactly what we want to do. But for the team that realizes just how easy it is to kind of muck things up against Missouri is to just slow it down a little bit. It's a scary proposition if we don't make those types of adjustments, but I guess I can't speak to it because second half, what more could you have possibly wanted, right? We'll continue to monitor that though against teams that I think are a higher caliber than what I consider Minnesota to be right now.
It will be interesting now what Mizzou does. Now, look, they should go undefeated the rest of the month. They've got 4 mid-majors coming up. Yeah, it's their next interesting one is at Notre Dame. That's quad 1. Right now, it's quad 1. You have that in the SEC-ACC Challenge on Tuesday, December 2nd. And so that's the next time that we learn some real information about them that could be positive. Like, you can only learn negative things when you play against Prairie View, South Dakota State, Cleveland State, which is Mizzou's next 4 games. But then Notre Dame, Kansas, and that week will be very telling for what Mizzou basketball could become this year, that first week of December. And so we'll see what they're made of then. And look, I would hope at least that Trent Pierce and Honor Boateng are back by then. I have no idea. I have zero clue. Like, it's tough to predict at that point. Like, come on. It seems that they're close, so I just...
Boateng shot...
Boateng was warming up yesterday. Apparently, it was in uniform.
Yeah. What about Pierce? Do we have any clues?
No, not really. I mean...
I'm going to say that he had a setback of some ilk.
Man.
I'm going to just leave it at of some ilk, and we may not see him for a while. Boateng, participatory in some capacity before the game yesterday, gives me a little bit more hope for him. But also, I don't know what that means. If Boateng is healthy and ready to go, we might not even know it because he might just not be playing coach's decision, right? Like, how many minutes was he going to get anyway? We don't have a clue because last year he didn't play. So I have no idea. I know a little bit more of what to expect of a Trent Pierce role, and I do think we're looking for that role. I don't know that Porter is the long-term solution, and you might love to see more of a Pierce to take away some of those minutes and level and balance that out a bit. But I don't know if Pierce is going to be available. So I just don't know. And I'm hopeful for Trent Burns, but I'm not really any more worried about that than I had been because we weren't expecting to see him yet anyway.
That's just the wild card of the whole thing.
Dude, it totally is.
But look, it could take Mizzou from, it could take them from good to great, or it could mean absolutely nothing. I have no clue on that. It's hard to put expectations like that on a redshirt freshman, so it's why I'm not doing it.
Who missed all of last year with an injury as well. We don't know anything about what to expect there. But before we find out that he's actually out for the year, I just want to spend a moment and imagine, and they'd have no reason to do it, but if you put Burns and Phillips and Mark Mitchell on the floor at the same time, it would be very funny to watch. I don't think it would happen, but have Mark Mitchell play the 3 or something, and you get him with 2 ball handlers out there. It would never happen, but they've got some crazy size if they get Trent Burns back. They've got crazy size as it is. I hope they start to use it to rebound a little bit more, but I will say it was surreal to watch them just absolutely decimate. The way that they treated Minnesota for the final 12, 13, 14 minutes of that game was like they were playing Prairie View or what. It was dominant. So that was at least fun to watch.
So give us your Mizzou basketball thoughts, 573-875-KTGR. You want to weigh in on how Mizzou did to build their way to a 23-point victory against Minnesota. Call or text us again, 573-875-5847. Up next, we'll have Calum McAndrew's take on the Hoops game last night and what we should expect from Mizzou now with 3 games left that will only mean much towards bowl positioning, not for anything playoff related, but how will Mizzou treat it? We'll ask Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune next on The Big Show.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Go, go, go! Sir, the bugs have taken over the entire neighborhood. They took out the Thompsons, the Joneses, and the Smiths. I don't know how much longer we can hold on. Calm down, soldier. Reinforcements are on the way. Holy protector of pest control.
Steve's Pest Control is currently en route.
As the season changes, you may notice spiders, wasps, and mice trying to enter your home. But don't worry, the pros of Steve's Pest Control are ready for battle. Before the fall invasion attacks your property, calmly, quietly, pick up your phone and call us at Steve's Pest Control. We've been protecting businesses, homes, and neighborhoods all over Central Missouri for years, and we can protect yours too. I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We will eliminate your pest problem and stop the fall pest invasion. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Kubota owners, after a busy season of mowing, hauling, and working hard, it's time to give your Kubota a little attention of its own. Schedule your Kubota winter service today, and in Boone County, enjoy free pickup and delivery with their 30-point service plan with Farm Power Lawn and Leisure. Keep your equipment ready to roll when spring comes. Call 573-442-1139 or visit fplal.com before March 1st. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your Kubota headquarters all year long.
Some things just go together, like salt and pepper. And now, thanks to Lee's Tires, front-end alignments and new tires do too. Now through the end of the month, when you buy 4 new tires at Lee's, you'll get a front-end alignment for free. Buy 4 new tires, get a front-end alignment for free, only at Lee's. Salt and pepper, tires and alignments, and for almost 50 years, it's been Lee's Tires and their customers. Some things really do go better together. Offer good through the end of the month.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
If you're fed up with promised promotions that never come through, or you simply feel overworked and underpaid, maybe it's time for a change. Make sure your job search starts at midmohires.com. There, you can browse lots of local companies hiring for their next superstar employee. Plus, these are local jobs, so you don't have to up and move your whole family just to find a job that you enjoy. If you're looking to move up the ladder, start looking at the job openings posted at midmohires.com. Great local companies hiring great local people. midmohires.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Get your thoughts in on Mizzou basketball and football as we get set for another home football weekend in Columbia, Missouri. 573-875-KTGR as crossover season is well upon us, and here to talk all things football and hoops from the Mizzou angle. Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on The Big Show to talk all things Mizzou. And Calum, let's start with basketball last night. I mean, Mizzou with a night and day difference first half to second half, and then it turns into a 23-point win against a Power 5 opponent from the Big Ten. Now, they're not the best Big Ten team in the country, obviously, but they're going to be solid probably for most of the year. How do you view that through the lens of how Mizzou looked first half to second half?
Yeah, I think if you take it as sort of an isolated event, I mean, what we saw in the second half specifically, I think should be reason for encouragement this early in the season. I mean, that was Missouri firing on all cylinders. I called it blitzkrieg. I mean, that 5-minute period in the middle of the second half was sensational. They really were running their offensive sets really well. They were finding ways to get open. They started to defend like Dennis Gates. They started to rebound. It looked like a really complete basketball team in that moment, in that isolated 5-minute period, 10-minute period there. And I think that should be a reason for encouragement looking forward. There are obviously issues with this team. They were getting mauled on the glass for the first 20 minutes. They couldn't buy a rebound for a while there. They are still not great on-ball defense. There are some troubles there, but I think when you look at what Missouri wants to be, when they want to be aggressive on both sides of the ball, I think that you should be a little bit encouraged by what you saw, especially in those 10 minutes at this early point in the season. That looked like a really, really fun offense at that point.
How do we square that circle, though, Calum, with some of the deficiencies that you mentioned versus, like, they're not too dissimilar from some things we've said about past Dennis Gates teams. Like, stylistically, you mentioned it, and I think the key is what they want to be at their best. How you kind of go about saying, well, when they're not that and they're not shooting the lights out like they did last night, where does that leave things relative to some of the types of struggles that they had early in that game?
Right. So I think you kind of have to balance that with a criticism I've had of Gates teams in the past is that there doesn't seem to be a plan B sometimes. Sometimes when plan A isn't working, it's shot. The games, if the threes weren't falling, if they weren't impacting passing lanes, they were done for. They were out of games for long stretches. We saw it. I think that was something that killed them in the tournament last year against Drake, that there just wasn't a secondary plan. There wasn't a good enough adjustment for them to come out and figure it out. I think this team, if you give it a little bit of room to grow, I do think they have that element there. I do think they're a little bit longer. I do think they're a little bit taller. I think in a world where the three ball isn't falling and they can't rely on that, I do think that could begin to show up. It hasn't really showed up at this point in the season, which is definitely a slight concern. But when you're talking about guys like Sean Phillips, when you're talking about the length of Mark Mitchell, if you're talking about positional size, this is a team that should be able to affect the interior. This is a team that should be able to protect the rim. This is a team that should be able to get good looks in the paint. And we'll see if that's how it transpires. But I do think there's a case to be made that this team could have more of a plan B, have more of a secondary option than the Mizzou teams in the past, where if Caleb Grill wasn't playing well, you were shot for a little while there.
Yeah, for sure. Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on the Big Show KTGR. How differently should we view it as well when there's all kinds of uncertainty as to whether Trent Pierce or Honor Boateng or Trent Burns will be available at some point? It's kind of what we've been used to, I suppose, with Dennis Gates. But just the fact that they're doing what they're doing right now, and that first real test that they had did pretty well in it without those guys, without a full bench. How does that then get assessed going forward with what you need to see from this team now?
Yeah, I think when you look at who they can still add to the team, it's pretty fun. I mean, you're talking about a 7'5" guy who can shoot. You're talking about a 6'11" combo forward who at his best was a fun player. There were definitely things he needed to grow and work on, but we've seen guys take steps and take developmental leaps under Gates. We're talking about one of the premier players in the class of 2024, all still able to come back. You know, it gets frustrating when there's so much unknowns and there's so much that the program isn't willing to share. And I get it, to agree. I get that they don't want to make promises that don't transpire, but it does get frustrating, and everybody wants to see these players and they want to see the team at full health, and they don't like being kept in the dark to a degree. When these guys do come back, I do think it will add something to this team. They're all exciting players. They're all people that could add something to this basketball team. I mean, we're talking Trent Pierce is probably going to be a starter in front of Javon Porter. We're talking Anar Boateng's a 3-level scorer. You've got a 7'5" guy, which, I mean, that's I can't wait to see what that looks like in Gates' system. So, there is also reason for encouragement about those guys potentially coming back in the coming weeks.
We'll see, and it'll be interesting how they get a chance potentially to get back on the floor, hopefully sometime within this next month before they play a quad one game at Notre Dame very soon. Calum, let's switch over to football. Curious your thoughts on how Eli Drinkwitz sounded on Tuesday, maybe not just in the press conference, but also on Tiger Talk later that evening with his perspective, it would seem, on playoff or bust mentality or big games, and seeming to respond to a lot of criticism that maybe has been out there over the last few games from the A&M loss this past Saturday.
Like a lot of the big picture issues that Eli Drinkwitz takes a stance on, I agree with him here. I do. I think he's right. I do think it is an unhealthy, I think it is an unsustainable place for the sport to go if you enter a season where 125 teams aren't going to matter by mid-November. I don't think that's what college football is. I don't think it's a healthy environment. I do think that the toothpaste is kind of out the tube here, and we're not going to fix it at any point. And I think it's only probably going to get worse as we decide to expand this and do whatever else they're going to come up with the Big Ten and SEC can put all that brain power together and figure out. I think he struck all the right notes. I think it is hard. There's a reason that Missouri hasn't scaled this mountain yet. There is a reason that a lot of teams haven't scaled this mountain yet. It's a difficult place. It's a difficult realm to break into. Missouri is taking all the right steps. They were at the forefront of NIL legislation. They have worked the transfer portal as good as anyone has in the past 3 years. They've built an indoor facility, like you said. They're building a stadium. They're doing everything right. All of the small steps that you have to take to get at least on the cusp of being a great football team. Whether they'll break through, who knows? I can't predict the future, but they are taking the right steps, and I do think level-headed minds recognize that Missouri's in a better place now than it was 5 years ago in its football program. So I understand people being frustrated if they say, oh, well, you sold us the most talented team ever. You said this was going to be the best team that you've put out in your time at Missouri. And sure, people want to be in the playoffs. I get that. I get the frustrations with losing these big games and not being able to crack that code. But Missouri's in a better place right now, and I think if you approach it with a little bit of level-mindedness, you would see, look, they're pretty close, and if they keep building on this, I do think it will eventually come.
The interesting dichotomy, though, Calum, is kind of that mindset of, look, things are moving in a really good direction here, so good, in fact, that the rumors are almost daily at this point that other programs are interested in taking on your head coach because they think that he can take a program to the promised land. Now, we obviously don't know what's going to come of that coaching carousel. I do wonder, though, the extent to which you kind of hear some of the very impassioned things that you hear from Eli Drinkwitz and wonder, like, we all kind of tend to believe that Mizzou administration is going to give him whatever he believes he needs to succeed here. Is some of that when he's talking about painting a picture for the future of what could happen here? Does some of that have to be heard maybe by the far reaches of the potential donors that could say NIL is still something that's going to have to dictate this thing, as we're kind of wondering without really knowing what's going to happen over the next 3-4 weeks or a month when it comes to carousel? Is part of that, do you think, baked into that conversation when he's talking about the future? For that to happen here, that's sort of got to be in line with what it looks like around the country for some of those top programs.
Interesting point. Yeah. Now that I think of it, his last contract extension included a $2.2 million bump for his assistant coaches. It didn't include a pay increase for him, no extra total compensation. It included a pay bump for his assistants so that he could hire more people and pay them more. I think you're absolutely right to stay competitive. Once just because you put the legislation through the state first and had that advantage, guess what? Everyone's caught up now. So you have to continue to reinvest. And the athletic department is doing everything they can on that front as well. I mean, it is so expensive to field a competitive football team right now. And I think the fans are feeling that. I think the fans are feeling it in their pockets. But that's what it takes now. That's what it, and I think that reinvestment is absolutely got to be a part of the conversation of whether, because he's a young coach. He's going to have high ambitions. These programs that are going to be calling him, and they would be silly not to. The Floridas, the Auburns, the LSUs, the Penn States, they would be ridiculous not to give Eli Drinkwitz a call. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not even going to bother predicting what he's going to do. That's a fool's errand, but they will call him. So this conversation that has to be taking place, for a competitive and ambitious young coach is how far can I take this team? I think that is how far can Missouri go under my leadership? And part of that conversation is how much they're going to invest. So I think, yes, I'm not privy to these conversations, but I absolutely think the conversations taking place behind the scenes will involve how much third party, how much can they maximize out of revenue sharing, how much can they do with this, that to maximize Missouri's opportunity going forward. That'll absolutely come into play in whether Missouri's able to retain them in the long term.
Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on the Big Show KTGR. Moving to the actual game that they have this weekend. And
one of those.
It's kind of secondary at this point, but it's kind of the nature of the business and the industry and how this goes. But they still need to play 3 more games before the postseason comes and before their bowl game comes. And it's going to most likely still be with Matt Zowers. I know Bo Prabula was upgraded from doubtful, but I mean, you probably still expect that it's going to be Zowers this weekend. And so from start 1 to start 2, what do you, Calum, look for as steps forward for Matt Zowers as he now faces a team that will be obviously not as good as Texas A&M, but still an SEC defense that he's got to deal with?
You're going to end up on some Klanga message boards, Andy. You're going to.
Bring him on. Stark Vegas loves me or hates me. Whatever.
Won an SEC game this year. No, improvement to me is, I think, mostly centric on what occurs around Matt Zollers. I think we know the talent is there, but we know he's raw. We know that's going to be the case. He went out against A&M, and I don't think the play calling was particularly effective for him. I don't think 15 of your first 20, 15 of your opening 20 first downs being run plays set him up for success. I don't think just letting him huck it downfield whenever he wanted was conducive to success. I think Missouri has to find a way to protect him. There was high emphasis there from Eli Drinkwitz on Tuesday of making sure that he is clean in the pocket and making sure that he's not taking those untouched runners that led to the strip sack there. I think that's massive. I also think Missouri has to find ways to get him shorter routes. Has to find him ways to get the ball moving without having to throw it 30 yards downfield. I think that was what we saw against Texas A&M became unpredictable. And I think it was just a freshman quarterback relying on what he knows he's good at. When you've got the arm that Matt Zollers does, I think it was just a guy seeing what he saw develop in front of him and taking those shots. And I don't hate that. I do not dislike that. If he feels comfortable taking those shots, absolutely. But Missouri has to find a way to get him a little bit more balance, a little bit more versatility in the play calling. Just get them moving the chains just a little bit more frequently, because hitting 130-yard play and then stalling out 3 plays later doesn't do anything for a freshman's confidence. It doesn't do anything for your football team. It doesn't do anything for your defense, which looked run ragged by the third quarter against Texas A&M. They have to find a way to just keep the ball a little bit longer and move the chains a little bit more with a little bit more rhythm, I think is the big thing.
Certainly so. And then on the other side, it would seem Blake Shapen, he was listed as probable. They do have a talented freshman that's been working pretty well for them too. That's why Eli Drinkwitz probably didn't mention any names, or at least mention both names. That's gotten him in trouble in the past. How do you expect Mizzou's defense to look? It seemed that they held up well in the first half against A&M, but the dam kind of broke afterwards. What do you expect now as they face this Mississippi State team that has put up points this year?
Yeah, I wouldn't. So on the quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised to see the freshman. It seems like, from what I'm reading, it seems like there are at least some. You're talking about a graduate student quarterback who's come in, dealt with multiple injuries now, isn't going to be back next year, and Blake Shapen. I don't see any reason. Mississippi, they're chasing a bowl game. They need one more win, but it seems like that freshman is quite a good player. I wouldn't be surprised, even if Blake Shapen is ready to go, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kamario Taylor a little bit more mobile, could present challenges on that front. I think the big thing this is a good Mississippi State offense. I mean, when you look at the individual pieces, guys like Fluff Bothwell and Davin Booth in the backfield, 2 guys that have combined for 1,000 yards on the ground. That's a really good 1-2 punch there. Brennan Thompson, their wide receiver, leads the SEC in receiving yards. I mean, this is a pretty good defense, a pretty good offense. It's going to be. I'm impressed with the Missouri offense. I think they've been as good at anyone as defending mobile quarterbacks in the country. They are very good at stopping on the poor part, and the part where they need to improve is these explosive plays in the second half. And I think it is part and parcel because the offense has been unable to sustain drives. They've been getting back on the field quicker, a little bit gassed, a little bit out of juice. So we'll see if that has played a part in it. But I would expect them to come out the way that they have most games and kind of holding offense's feet to the fire. This is a good unit, no matter what. They've played well this year.
What do you expect? What's your prediction?
Oh God, rock fight until proven otherwise. I think I've seen a few in the row. I think if you're Missouri and they ran the ball 56 times against them last year, if I remember right. I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar. I wouldn't be surprised to see them lean on Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. I think if you're Missouri, you happily accept a 17-10 win right now. I think you get in there and just take what you can. And I do believe everyone would bite your hand off for that offer right now. I think that's... until Missouri shows me that they're not going to be in a rock fight, I'm going to predict a rock fight.
Over under like 100 combined points in Mizzou games for the remainder of the season might be an interesting one, or something like
Arkansas,
that. That's true. Yeah, that's a big one.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, maybe I have to adjust that, but we have to come up with that number some way, somehow. Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on the Big Show, KTGR. Thanks, Calum, for coming on, sharing your insights and everything, and we'll see you soon. See you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Absolutely. It is 4:45 on the Big Show, KTGR. 119 and a half, 124 and a half.
I know the Mizzou offense, we're skeptical. If they can't put points up on Arkansas, and maybe it won't be 40, but if it's not, upper 20s at least, that would be a pretty big disappointment. And so if that over under for Arkansas is not in the 50s, I'll be surprised. But by that point, it might not be. If Mizzou does beat Mississippi State 17-10, and then they lose to Oklahoma 23-6. No, I mean that. Yeah, we could be in an era where the offense is just going to finish the season that way. I still think just run the heck out of the football against Mississippi State, and you might be able to keep the chains moving to have a game that's more 27-24 type. We'll see tomorrow what I go with, but. Yeah, we'll see. That might not be a bad call, the 119 and a half, because Oklahoma can't score a lot against good defenses so far, and Oklahoma has a very good defense, so that could be another one of those rock fights.
So tell us what you think about Mizzou, Mississippi State. We'll have over-unders coming up at 5:05 as well as over-unders for Chiefs Broncos. But under the bus coming up next, third time in the last couple of weeks that we're putting Mac Rhodes here, and this one is appearing to be the most impactful of the three. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it, leestirecompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball officially signed Jason Crow Jr. today. The class of 2026 consensus 5-star recruit is ranked as high as number 3 in the nation, according to 24/7 Sports, and is the Tigers' highest-rated recruit since Michael Porter Jr., who was rated 2nd in the class of 2017. Kansas City Chiefs are preparing to head on the road this weekend for a divisional matchup with the Denver Broncos. According to the Chiefs injury report, running back Isaiah Pacheco did not practice again today, while defensive end George Karlaftis and wide receiver Xavier Worthy were both limited participants at today's practice. The AFC West showdown in the Rockies is set for Sunday at 3:25. And Mizzou women's basketball has officially signed 5 recruits to their 2026 recruiting class. This came out yesterday as it was National Signing Day. Recruits Natalia Hodge, Kylie Ford, and Jada Maples are all top 100 prospects, while Cecilia Brandemore and Ellie Mueller round out Coach Kelly Harper's first recruiting class for the Tigers. Mizzou will be back in action as they take on the Kansas Jayhawks in Kansas City this Saturday with tip-off at 6 o'clock. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with I-70 Towing, their Mid-Missouri's go-to crew. I-70 Towing.
I'm tracking a very warm end to the week with high temperatures in the upper 70s tomorrow through Saturday. That is almost 30 degrees above normal for mid-September. We'll stay dry and a little breezy through the end of the week with a cold front late Saturday night after the Mizzou game. No rain is expected, but temperatures do drop back closer to average in the 50s the rest of next week as we're staying dry. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Chiefs Kingdom lives here.
This is the Chiefs Kingdom.
Touchdown, Kansas City! Tune in every Monday night at 6 for the Chiefs Kingdom Show, hosted by the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Hear from head coach Andy Reid and your favorite Chiefs players all season long. After every game, enter the doors to the Chiefs Kingdom. Monday nights at 6, powered by Macadoodles, Steve's Pest Control, and your total sports station for all things Chiefs. KTGR.
Another winter inside, looking at the snow in your yard that you can't write your name in because you didn't order your new deck from Crutch's Custom Exteriors in time. Don't look ahead to spring cleaning. You're ready for spring peeing and April showers with Freedom Stream Powers off your new Crutch's deck. They can build your pee platform in the winter so it's ready for you to splash your autograph in any springtime snow that's left. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com. True beauty is on the outside.
Hi, I'm Rainey. And I'm Leland. And we're with Betts Jewelers. It's almost time for our 13th annual Fall Color Show. Join us on Thursday, November 20th from noon to 7. Come pop a balloon to reveal your prize. You can win your purchase 20% to 40% off. Or for free up to $5,000. Can't wait to see you at Betts Jewelers for our Fall Color Show. Noon to 7, baby. November 20th.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
My name is Josh Arnold, and I've been working at Zimmer Communications for over 5 years. When I first started at Zimmer, I was really impressed at all of the resources that they have available to you to succeed. I started at this job right out of college. I think I learned more here my first 3 to 6 months than I did in all of my time in my schooling at college. Working at Zimmer Communications, you really feel like you're part of a team. You don't feel like you're pitted against one another. It's a really fun atmosphere that allows me to excel in my job.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
My name is Nick Rasmussen, and I used Phyllis Nichols to get my life insurance. So I really wanted to get a term policy that would cover us for the next 20 years. For some reason, something happened to me, knowing that my wife was going to be taken care of. Life insurance is a really tricky topic, and working with Phyllis, she talked about all the ins and the outs, what I was getting, why should I do whole life or term, all those different types of products that are out there can be incredibly confusing. Phyllis will sit down and go through all of those with you. I just know that she's always got my best interest at heart, and everybody in town should use her the next time they're getting a quote.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. November is the month for giving thanks.
But here's something we're not thankful for. Ground turkey. But seriously, have y'all ever tried to make a burger out of that meat? No matter what you do, it is dry. You know what you will be thankful for? Our famous Billiards burger. No turkey required.
Look at hometown for burgers and beer. Billiards, home Broadway.
No turkey burgers were made in the making of this commercial.
Not sure what to get him this holiday? You can't go wrong with a gift from Untuck It. Every guy wants to unwrap our best-selling, wrinkle-free, and performance styles. From polished shirts for holiday parties to cozy layers for family photos, you'll find everything he needs to look sharp and feel comfortable all day and night. So get a head start on your holiday gift list. Early holiday sale happening now. Find the perfect gift for everyone on your list at untuckit.com and more than 80 stores worldwide. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn, untucked.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
So first we threw Mac Rhodes under the bus for a weird quip on the college football playoff ranking show. Then we threw him under for what was an alleged incident involving him and a Baylor player and a coach and everything like that. It was back from September, and apparently it was resolved according to Baylor, which
they thought so.
And now we're throwing him under because he's taken a leave of absence. It's not us throwing it because we don't know the situation. It's just for now he is under.
I think we have an idea.
All that, but like it's apparently not tied to that incident in September. They say it's not tied to anything Title IX related or administrative, or they said it's like, according to Ross Dellinger, a violation of their faith-based university policies from what he was told. So we don't know. We do know that he's off the college football playoff committee for now. He was the chair. Now it's Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas AD. Great.
The closest they're ever going to get
yeah, exactly.
to the playoff is an AD on the committee.
So, yeah, a lot of uncertainty, and for the former Mizzou AD, now uncertain as to his future at Baylor, too.
I think so. I think that's safe to say.
So, lots to decipher, but
under the bus.
For now, we just throw it under because it's under investigation, as they say.
Every week with this guy, there's something new coming out.
Yeah, that's weird. Also, under the bus to the NFL. Apparently, the owners want the union to stop doing those annual report cards of their organizations.
I saw Woody Johnson was a particularly aggrieved.
He was the one leading this, essentially.
Well, what was his last grade?
Oh, it just so happened to be an F.
Shocker.
What do you know?
Get over it and just get better.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Just... this is just so dumb. The NFL doesn't want to be, the owners don't want to be checked on anything.
Yep. Guess what? Too bad.
Yeah.
Because if it's not done officially by the NFLPA, I'm telling you, the Athletic's going to do it like they do for baseball. It's important. I think that check on power is important. And so Woody Johnson can get over it, or maybe, I don't know, listen to the feedback and improve.
And like, it's important to the players too. Like, there are a bunch of stuff that they don't really care to fill out, like the NFL Top 100 that comes out at the beginning of the year, or like Pro Bowl or stuff like that. But no, each one of those players cares a lot about filling out that form when it comes to the NFLPA report card, and they need to continue to have that ability because we all need to know which organizations are actually up to snuff. And if the owners don't like that, well, sorry, that's the game that you're in.
Under the bus.
You got to play nice with everybody. And look, you're the one that gets to make billions and billions off of your teams. A little check is not going to be a death knell to you. Come on.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports. on The Big Show.
Now it's officially official. Jason Crow Jr. signed on the dotted line today, and Mizzou men's basketball has, according to ESPN, the number one recruiting class for the class of 2026. Not bad. We'll take that.
It's fun. It's fun. Look, I have my thoughts that, maybe the answer, I thought this since the Drake loss, the answer is that Dennis Gates is an otherworldly recruiter that can get such a good roster. It doesn't matter what style of play they utilize because they'll just be better than everybody else. We're getting closer to that being a reality with a class like this one, Andy.
Jimmy's and Joe's. It's all about that. We'll see if they can continue to get those guys for already off to a good start for 2027 too. Scotty Atkinson verbally committed. See how much they add to that one over the next calendar year. 573-875-KTGR if you want to give us a call or a text. We'll have over-unders for Mizzou, Mississippi State, and Chiefs Broncos for the weekend coming up at 5:05. So give us your over-unders that you want us to weigh in on for those games. We'll also try to help you out with your fantasy teams. As Play Fade Eliminate comes your way at 5:25. Send us some players that you want us to tell you about their fantasy value for this weekend, whether to play them, fade them, or eliminate them. 5:25. We'll talk.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. Fraud and scams can strike anyone. My office works to ensure that Missouri is free from deception and unfair practices. Last year, we handled over 65,000 consumer complaints and returned more than $400 million to Missourians. If you've been a victim of fraud, call 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office. It's that time of year again. Hit a deer, win a cow with FPP Body Shop. Listen, I'm not saying actively crash your vehicle into a deer, but if you do hit a deer, FPP will ease that stress with a $20 gift card to Fulton Worst House. And you'll be entered in to win the grand prize, a $500 gift card.
Man, I tell you what, winner last year had a cookout with every meat known to man. He all right?
Yeah, Billy. The winner will be popular again this year, too. With FPP, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPPBodyShop.com.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has daily drink specials and half-off select appetizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
At Fuse 32 Marketing, creativity isn't just encouraged, it's essential. We're growing as a marketing agency, which means we're ready to grow our team of social and digital marketing specialists, graphic designers, writers, and producers. At Fuse 32, we elevate our clients' brands by creating bold branding strategies and bringing fresh ideas to the table. We are Fuse 32 Marketing, and we're always looking for the next wave of creators to join us. Fuse 32, there's nothing we can't do. Apply now at fuse32.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek approved as the College Football Playoff Selection Committee Chairman. The move comes hours after Baylor AD and Selection Committee Chair Mack Rhodes took a leave of absence for personal reasons amid a university investigation. The AFC East leading Patriots carry a 7-game winning streak into the opening game of Week 11 of the NFL season against the Jets tonight. The success New England's had so far in its first season under Coach Mike Vrabel is no surprise to former Packers and Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy.
The things I've always looked for, whether you're competing against another coach as a coordinator, as a head coach, the consistency. He definitely has been consistent in the play style that he demands from his football team, both in Tennessee and New England. It starts in the run game. We all want to run the ball good. We all want to stop the run. and he's done that in both places.
Mike McCarthy on the Pat McAfee Show. It was back to practice today for Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. He missed yesterday's practice with knee soreness. He apparently is set to start Sunday at Cleveland. NBA, Knicks guard Jalen Brunson will not play tomorrow night against the Heat because of a right ankle sprain.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Well, tell us which players you want to have us weigh in on for Play, Fade, Eliminate. Get your text in, 573-875-KTGR. Your fantasy matchups beginning tonight with yet another Thursday night game that maybe you don't get excited about, but maybe the game will actually be exciting. Who knows? They've proved us wrong before. So 525, be ready for Play, Fade, Eliminate. In a few minutes, though, Brenden and I will weigh in on over-unders for Mizzou, Mississippi State, and Chiefs Broncos this weekend. You can give us yours at 573-875-5847 or comment on our YouTube channel or our Facebook feed where we're live right now. But first, before any of that, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Well, I'm not going to lie. It was ugly for a while, but Mizzou men's basketball turned into the Harlem Globetrotters down the stretch in their game last night against Minnesota. Blew them out 83-60. Used a 28-4 run at one point in the second half to do it. This was a game that was pretty nip and tuck. Close game at halftime. Close game when you look at the way things were slated, just about 8 to 10 minutes to go in the ball game. But ultimately, the Tigers were able to prevail, and I guess you got to give credit where it's due for the second half adjustments that Dennis Gates was able to make for his team.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Also on the Mizzou basketball front, all three players from this top-ranked class of 2026 have officially signed on the dotted line over the past couple of days. 5-star Jason Crow Jr. rounding out the group earlier this afternoon. Aiden Chronister and Tony Bryant inked their commitments yesterday on the opening day of the signing period. Maybe that's the answer. Dennis Gates is going to recruit so well that it just doesn't matter the style of basketball they play because they'll have the Jimmies and the Joes to beat just about anybody. That's the hope.
Number 3.
It's Brendan Donovan rumors time. Yeah, the GM meeting's taking place this week. Apparently, he was the belle of the ball. Lots of MLB teams expected to inquire, and I think the Cardinals' angle, as I've been saying since early September, is going to be to trade him. I don't love it, but if you're going to do it, could the Royals actually be an interesting match? Derek Gould had an interesting story discussing that possibility with Kansas City in the market for a bat. They've got a surplus of arms. Exactly which arms the Cardinals could covet and the Royals could make available would be a fascinating game of chess to watch unfold between Missouri's two big league clubs.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Mac Rhodes' leave of absence from Baylor due to an internal investigation for a personal matter related to, as Ross Dellinger termed it, their faith-based practices. Hunter Yurachek up for the CFP committee head. That's been approved, and it's the closest Arkansas may ever get to actually being in the playoff.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Yeah, we do have a Mizzou football game to talk about this weekend. Mississippi State, it's senior night. The Rock M has been installed on the grassy knoll. That's pretty fun. Sort of in that area of the retired numbers. Looks like it's right there in front of Brock Olivo's number. I like Andy's question about the over-under, though, for the remaining games. Could we potentially be seeing some rock fights for Mizzou down the stretch, other than that Arkansas game, which definitely still looms? But we'll get into over-unders for Mizzou and the Chiefs next.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Give us a call or a text at 573-875-KTGR. So they finished it, that Rock M just now? Did they put a picture up or something?
I do think I saw a picture earlier today where they kind of, it's a smaller one, I think, but it's, I'll have to track that down if that was Mizzou football that posted that or who had that. But it does. We were told by Drinkwitz earlier in the week, Tuesday, that was something they were doing. Yeah, Mizzou football posting 39 minutes ago. It's back, and right there in front of Brock Olivo's number on that grassy knoll. It's a pretty full-looking Rock M. I don't have a banana for scale to see exactly how large it is compared to the other Rock M, but yeah, it looks like it's ready to roll.
No, that looks very nice. It looks like it's on the west side of the stadium. So the spot right in front of the press box and the northwest corner, I believe. And so if you're going to go to the game, you'll see it right there in that corner. And no, that'll be a nice thing to at least have for now. And how it looks going forward will be interesting. There was, I can't remember where it got brought up. Maybe it was during Tiger Talk, but like they'll find a way to do it in future years because technically, like the Rock M, it will exist in the new north end zone, but it's going to be a little bit. It's like elevated, and so like how does someone get from the field level to the Rock M to like go and
I think it can be done.
They'll find a way
to do it.
They'll like create a little shoot
pathway.
Shoot like, hey, here's a rock, come on down. Here's another rock, slide it down. Whatever it is, but
whatever they have to do.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Again, this is a tradition that I think doesn't get enough attention, but it's really cool that Mizzou does this, and if they win, then they'll get to continue it.
Yeah, they have to play it like they're not guaranteed to win it. They have to play it like they have to earn it because I think against this Mississippi State team they will. They will have to earn it because, as we said, it's a pretty good team. This is not a team that you can walk over. It's not going to go like last year's game, I don't think, in Starkville. So, yeah, if they want the Rock, they'll have to do what it takes to get their hands on it for sure.
So we'll see whether they can get it done and how will they get it done. Tell us over-unders for Mizzou and Mississippi State, 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show if you want to tell us your over-unders. Now, this should be a heavy ground game for Mizzou.
Yes.
How heavy will it end up being? I think we'll set a high bar for them. Over or under 199.5 rushing yards as a team.
Yeah.
For Mizzou.
I think you need to clear that. I think you need a 200-yard rushing game. We saw it happen with both Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy going over 100 in the A&M game, but that wasn't really the same thing because you were kind of behind by so many points that it just didn't really matter. Like you're going to run the ball, just run your offense and see what might work. And A&M maybe a little bit lackadaisical on a couple of those long runs, allowing Mizzou to have that success. I think in this one, I'm not going to say that you can't get more out of Matt Zollers than what we just saw, because I think we saw some good things from him against Vanderbilt in a pretty limited sample. And like A&M, I think is definitely a step up when you think about what they bring defensively compared to what most teams on the schedule are going to bring. And Mississippi State is included in that. Andy, Mississippi State is allowing 188.9 rushing yards per game. That's 118th in FBS. And that's a number that Mizzou, I think, should be able to get to, and then hopefully exceed by even a little bit more than that. The Bulldogs allowing 204.7 rushing yards per game over their last 3 contests.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I think that should be the floor.
3 games.
If that's what they do to other people, that's what Mizzou has to do to them with a freshman quarterback and 2 really freaking good running backs. Run the ball, and then run the ball again. Like I would run the ball in passing downs at times just to be, especially as you kind of navigate toward midfield. If let's say you're at the 45, haven't crossed midfield, and it's 3rd and 7, I don't care. That's part of my playbook is the ability to run a draw or run it in some capacity to get 4, 5, 6 yards and be able to then run the ball again on 4th down. Like I would be very open-minded to that level of a ground heavy attack because it is not like in recent weeks where we've said, oh, these guys have given it up on the ground occasionally, but they're usually pretty good. Mississippi State's been bad. They have given it up on the ground, and I think Missouri needs to be prepared with their offensive game plan to take advantage of that and at least to test it and to say, can we do what other teams have been doing to this team on the ground.
So you have to establish that as your foundation. I will say, though, there have to be some big plays put up by Zowers at some point. We do have to see.
And you can do that too against this team.
How many completions would you say that he gets over 15 yards or more in a game like this? Where would you set that?
Do we know that answer for the last game? I mean, he, to my chagrin, he was chucking it down the sideline kind of often. He hit Olubide for one. I don't know I can't recall how many of those might have been successful. Didn't seem like there were, and that's something that I want to kind of complain about. There has not been a very good amount of yak by this receiving core. I'm just saying that anecdotally. Maybe the numbers tell me I'm wrong with that. Doesn't it feel like we haven't gotten as much, especially in conference play, of throwing guys into that opening? I mean, teams do it to us all the time. Zone defense, hit them 6-8 yards, and then they go for 15 yards. We have not gotten very much of that, I think, as a receiving core recently. Now, I don't know if that's quarterback play or receiver play.
If it's on here somewhere, I will look for it. But I don't know. It's hard to know the actual stats on that at the moment. For reference, in the game against Texas A&M, Mizzou's big plays, they had two passing plays of 15 yards or more, but they both went for, like, there was the deep ball to Olubide that went for 34, and then another deep ball to Olubide that went for 28. So
I have to be honest with you. I wanted to forget that game so badly. I never did look at the box score. I didn't realize that Olubide was like 99% of the team's receiving yards in the game.
And look, like people complaining about him not
so
playing
bad.
enough. Like he is playing enough now. Like he started the game. He played the most snaps out of any wide receiver.
Good. He's their
targeted
best
8
receiver.
times.
So that should be the case. He is their best receiver. Full stop. No qualifiers needed. He is the best one. So I'm glad that adjustment has finally been made.
Okay, so if we set it at 2.5 for this game, pass plays of 15 yards or more,
I'm going to take the under until I see more of a consistent ability to do it in a way that's not just Olubide's down there somewhere, chuck it 20 yards down. Like, I need to see the receivers play better. Matt Zoller's had a bad game. The wide receivers as a group had a bad game. They've got to be able to help him out a little bit. Like, I know you're kind of making a face. You cannot possibly defend to me and say the wide receivers had a great game, getting separation, giving their quarterback an opportunity, when one guy out of the group totaled more than a yard. Olubide had 74 yards. I get it. 7 completions. It was a nightmare for the quarterback. But Coleman had a catch for a yard. Manning had a catch for -4 yards. Hardy had a catch for 5 yards. So
Manning had a catch for -4 yards because guys in front of him didn't block. But
yeah, it was screenplay got blown up.
I attribute it more to Zowers being made uncomfortable in the pocket.
He was terrible. Yes,
and not being able to withstand the rush that was coming his way. And that's, it's mostly because he's young and he isn't able to feel that, at least just yet. It's partly on the offensive line. It's partly on the coaching staff. It's a lot of factors that created that. I'm not going to say the wide receivers were good.
No, I think they were bad outside of Olubide.
But they're capable of
known.
Coming out of this. I don't think we should bury them just for that.
I said they were bad in that game. I don't think they're bad players.
We'll see how it looks for this game against Mississippi State. I'm going to say over. I think if you establish the run, then it will open up some of those opportunities. And
Zollers is going to play better. He flat out has to. He can't play worse. But that's a better defense that you face. This is a defense that you can do some things against.
We'll see how it looks. 875 KTGR.
Yeah, we will.
Jason says passes to tight ends for Mizzou over under 2.5. Brett Norfleet
under.
Questionable.
Under. I told you with the Norfleet thing last week. You said it at like 4.5 or 5.5 or something, and I was like, nope.
Oh, but if he plays, then it's over, right?
I want to remind you that our quarterback had 7 completions in the game.
Passes to tight ends.
So we're saying targets or completions?
Well, I guess that's up for debate.
That's what I assumed he meant is completions. Targets.
I think if they're throwing Brett Norfleet's way, that he'll catch it. But
do we think he plays?
If I had to guess, I would say yes.
I would lean under. So let's
week.
just put it on part of the game. The 0.5 Brett Norfleet snaps in this game. Over, under.
I'll say over.
I will say under. I don't think he plays. Hope I'm wrong. I have no reason for that. Like, I'm not breaking news. I'm just, I don't know. I kind of feel like when we said his day-to-day, we were not telling.
Jason clarified. He said targets.
Okay. I don't know. How many targets did Speedy Johnson have in the game? It didn't really amount to anything because he didn't catch a ball.
He didn't have any targets.
No. I thought they did try him on one, but it may have been a penalty.
It might have been attributed to somebody else, but the stats don't show it.
I think it was a defensive pass interference, actually. So I think.
Okay. Then that wouldn't show up.
That would not count as a target.
Right.
So which, doesn't show up in the stat sheet as I'm dogging on the receiving core for their poor game. Drawing a DPI does count for something, but I don't know how. I don't really care how many times he's throwing to the tight ends. I want to know how many times they're executing. Not to make fun of the question. I think it's relevant because tight end play was relevant in the Vandy game, and that was Jude James coming in was helpful to them being able to sustain an offense. We didn't, they just didn't have the chance in the A&M game to even really make an impact. But I'll say under. I'm going to be a pessimist about the passing offense, although I will say over their last 3 games, Mississippi State has given up 276 per game through the year, which is kind of a big number.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you establish what you do well on offense, if you build from the run game and you allow it to open up some other parts of what you want to do, then Mizzou should get to some requisite numbers in this game. It comes down to execution. It comes down to blocking, comes down to winning the line of scrimmage, which Mizzou did that. I think for the last 3 quarters when they went down to Mississippi State and won that game. First quarter is a little iffy, but then
it was a weird quarter though.
Once the sack, the fumble recovery touchdown by Daylon Carnell, and then Mizzou was off to the races.
Yeah, I will say this about just like general game script. Calum, I don't know if he was being a little tongue in cheek or genuinely basically was saying, I'm not going to predict them to not play in a rock fight until they show me under Zollers that they can do more than that. And really, it wasn't even a Zollers thing. Like Bo Prabula played half the game against Vanderbilt. So it kind of is what it is right now with this offense. If you look at Vegas, they're saying Missouri is going to score over under 29.5 points. Like this is an over under at 51.5, and Mizzou is a touchdown favorite. So if you see things like Calum does and kind of like we could all see it going, maybe you do think you find a jurisdiction of legality, which we can only say for like 3 more weeks, and it goes under. But I also I think Missouri can score into the 20s in this game. I largely, though, think they'll do it on the ground. Let me throw a Zollers passing number at you. For the season, Mississippi State has given up 225 passing yards per game. That ranks 68th in the country. Like I said, over the last 3, it's 271 over their last 3 games. So let me throw one. I'm just going to say 199.5 for Zollers. That might be a heavy number, but it also might not be.
I'll go under.
I think so too.
Doesn't mean he has a bad game.
174.5.
Oh, I think he'll be over that.
Okay. I'm going to lean really close under. I mean, like give me 160 some odd passing yards. I just think it's going to be that run heavy and they won't find a lot of resistance when they run the ball.
Yeah. We'll see what that is. But, I would think that he finishes in the 180 to 190 range, but could have a good completion percentage, a lot better completion percentage than he had in the last one.
Let's set it at 55% over under.
Over.
What was it against Vandy? Which was very 2-minute drilly kind of fourth quarter, but
I thought it was 15 of 24 off the top of my head.
14 of 23.
14 of 23. I was close.
14 of
23. Which that's
60.8.
Yeah.
So good line, me. It's gonna be close to that. I don't have a hot take on that. I wouldn't bet that one at the window in my jurisdiction of legality.
Can you even do that? I don't even know if you can.
Completion percent? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. There's a lot of things you can't bet on when it comes to college props these days for good reason.
Yeah.
Like you can look on the various websites and a lot of them don't even, I've noticed this since like the big NBA thing happened. They have made changes to the offerings, and a lot of times they don't post till Friday, but it'll be like it'll be like our first over-under of the day, team rushing, rather than individual players, which, if I may, for college kids, I'm okay with that. Like, it's fun to be able to kind of play this and
I agree.
And talk about the way that we want to see a game play out, but I'm also okay with them. I don't feel the same about the pro guys, but like when it's college, I still feel like there is that separation. I go, you know what? I'm cool with whatever they decide to do, and I'm not really going to complain about that as a consumer. But I think it's run the ball. Do they do it again where both Roberts and Hardy get over 100 yards? Over under 1.5 100-yard rushers?
So.
I'll take the over too.
Yeah.
Because I think Roberts, and I was bemoaning it with Hardy not playing hardly at all in the first half. Like, he wasn't on the field to the point where I was pretty convinced he was injured, and I was just like refreshing Twitter to wait to see why he wasn't even on the field. I know he had a false start that was harmful, and so that was what, once you take him off the field and Roberts looks good, you're not incentivized to maybe swap him back in. But Roberts is also claiming more of the pie based on the way he's playing. So I do think you could have more of a 50-50, 60-40 type of split to the carries. And I think both will have the efficiency to be good. Like, Andy, if we lose to Mississippi State, I'm going to be pretty despondent on Monday. But the mentality I'm taking into this game is shove it down their throats with those two running backs that are among the best 5 to 7 players on this football team. Like, regardless of position, I think those are two of the best football players on this team, and let them go both play football and give your freshman quarterback a little bit of a relief with what he's able to do versus what they're able to give him.
All right, 875-KTGR if you want to call or text in over-unders for Mizzou, Mississippi State. Let's do a few for Chiefs Broncos. Big game also.
It is a big game.
Quite a big game.
It's a huge game
for both teams. So
bigger for the Chiefs. More important for the Chiefs, would you agree?
To a degree.
Because I think for them, they're the one that could still miss the playoffs. And if you're the Broncos, you have already banked enough wins to probably be sitting pretty for wild card. Like, you
sure, but
you want
to make that leap, and this is
you do.
Like,
but if you're the Chiefs, you lose. You're 5-5, and you could very much miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess
you are such a homer. What
do you mean,
game, Andy?
I'm looking at the AFC standings, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of teams that are better than the Chiefs that could be really challenging them for that 7th spot. I don't think the Jaguars are a better team. I know the Chiefs don't have the tiebreak.
No. It doesn't. I don't think it matters. The Chargers are sitting pretty. Okay, so you're right. It is the Jaguars. That is the Ravens. The Ravens.
The Ravens will win their division, and there will only be one playoff team from that division.
The Steelers can't get to 10. You don't think?
No.
Yeah, they might not.
And
Bills
then you're talking
in.
Texans. Like no, the Texans will not chase down the Chiefs.
They play the Chiefs though.
No, I know. They're not going to beat them. Like, come on.
All right, fine. I will say it's more important for the Chiefs than it is the Broncos because the Chiefs do still have a number of complex games remaining. Broncos defenses, it can be good, but they'll play in some shootouts from time to time. I'll give you Mahomes's. Let's go with his passing yardage. It is at 259.5.
Over.
He has gone over. I mean, he's been at least 250 in basically 6 straight games. So only a couple times he's gone under, but when he's gone under, it's been barely. I'll agree and say over. I did see Xavier Worthy pop up on the injury report. I don't know how serious that is or if that's just him kind of managing, but it looks like it is a new like it's an ankle is what they're terming it with. So I don't know if that has a big
he had
impact.
the ankle like right after the shoulder thing. And so
he hasn't missed time with it. That could just be management though from the previous injury. He was limited. Is the way that it was framed. So I don't, unless he suffered a setback with the ankle during practice, I think he'll probably be fine to play. But just wanted to make note of that since I didn't in the top 5 at 5. Oops.
So I think Mahomes will be over his number. Broncos have not faced a very impressive run of quarterbacks, if you ask me. Like that, the only performance that I think they have had that's been impressive against a quarterback has been Dak Prescott when they held him to 24, which is still a good amount of points for an NFL team.
I would argue Jackson Dart would be one.
I'm also not impressed. They allowed 32 to him.
No. You don't have to be impressed. I'm just saying like that is a quarterback that I think has the juice. And to your point, it helps your point. They did give up 32 to him and should have lost that game. But the Giants defense in that fourth quarter was a nightmare. So
terrible. And then you can only put up 10 points against the Raiders. Like I get it. Broncos are 8-2. Record looks great. They will regress to the mean, and I think they'll finish with no more than 11 wins.
Okay. That's definitely possible. And of course, the Chiefs can lay in with 2 losses. So I do want to, it's not really that relevant, but you talked about that Broncos game. Like the Giants absolutely should have beaten them, and the Giants should have beaten the Bears. They're starting Jameis Winston this week instead of Russell Wilson. If they would have done that switch on Sunday, they would be 4-6. And if they had beaten the Broncos, the Giants, I wish Jackson Dart didn't have a concussion, because I would be loving watching them under a new coach and see what they could do. But you're right, Jameis Winston could be fun. Could be fun as well. What do you think Bo Nix does?
Bo Nix
against the Chiefs defense. His number is, as I look for it here, 217.5.
Under. He might get to 200, maybe.
He hasn't been great.
No.
He hasn't gotten to 200 in his last 2 games. Cowboys, that hardly counts. He threw 4 touchdowns, 247 yards. Giants, 279-2. But anytime he plays a halfway decent defense lately, it hasn't gone as well for him. So I agree, under on Bo Nix.
And look, we'll have more to talk about the game tomorrow, but I just think that there will be some uncovering of flaws that the Broncos have in this game. That's all.
If the Chiefs lose this game, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to grill you on Monday.
I will reset some things if they lose this game, but I won't expect that they miss the playoffs.
By the way, no J.K. Dobbins. It looks like
that's hurt my fantasy team. So we'll get to some of that and play Fate Eliminate next. If you have J.K. Dobbins and you need to find a replacement, we'll try.
You have R.J. Harvey on your bench.
Yeah, that's
if you don't.
Tyler Beatty.
That's true, actually. Like they could divvy this pie up and make it interesting.
Could be interesting. We'll talk about it in PPR. Touchdowns, like Touchdown Hawk, something like that. Tell us who you want us to weigh in on for Play Fate Eliminate. Text in your questions for fantasy football. So we get to that next year on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Go, go, go! Sir, the bugs have taken over the entire neighborhood. They took out the Thompsons, the Joneses, and the Smiths.
I don't know how much longer we can hold on.
Calm down, soldier. Reinforcements are on the way. Holy protector of pest control.
Steve's Pest Control is currently en route.
As the season changes, you may notice spiders, wasps, and mice trying to enter your home. But don't worry, the pros of Steve's Pest Control are ready for battle. Before the fall invasion attacks your property, calmly, quietly, pick up your phone and call us at Steve's Pest Control. We've been protecting businesses, homes, and neighborhoods all over Central Missouri for years, and we can protect yours too. I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We will eliminate your pest problem and stop the fall pest invasion. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control. Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
A lot going on in the football world. Big NFL week. This NFL slate should be something else. So we'll talk more about that and Play Fade Eliminate coming in a few minutes. Of course, Mizzou, final home game against Mississippi State. That also means final Tiger Tailgate of 2025. Be sure to get your free Tiger Tailgate passes today, tomorrow. You'll have time to do it on Sunday if you want to do it then, since it is a night game.
I'll do it Saturday.
Or Sunday. Oh, did I say
Sunday would be really like Andy said I could.
No.
That would be disappointing.
Yeah, that would be disappointing, because Saturday is when you should do that. You should pick them up at places like Dive Bar, Hy-Vee in Columbia, Play It Again Sports, State Farm Insurance Office, Phyllis Nichols, the agent there. Be sure to pick up your Tiger Tailgate passes at those great businesses, and then you can come by our tailgate right in front of Mizzou Arena 2.5 hours before kicks. That means 4:15 is when it will start on Saturday before Mizzou and Mississippi State. Get free food and drinks from Dive Bar, Bud Light, High Noon, Zing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Midmo Water Solutions. Big shout out to Kingsford as well for sponsoring our Tiger Tailgates this year. Last one of the season. Be sure to not miss out. Get all the details over on our KTGR app. 875-5847 if you want to call or text us. All right, let's get to this.
It's time to play Fade or Eliminate.
I swear that J.K. Dobbins one is going to really squeeze me this week, because I'm hurting in a lot of spots when it comes to that. Don't like the Broncos mostly, but J.K. Dobbins been my guy in some good spots, so going to miss him. But instead, who should you play, fade, or eliminate in your fantasy football lineups? Text in your questions to us, 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show. If you want to have some questions answered from Brenden on your fantasy football teams, why don't we start with running backs? Play, fade, eliminate. Sean Tucker, Jordan Mason, Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, this is ugly. You could be facing a situation like this, though. Aaron Jones has kind of taken over a little bit more the way I maybe thought he would. I don't really think Jordan Mason is that good, but he came into the year like kind of the main guy. Then Jones was out for a while. I would definitely rather have Aaron Jones right now in that backfield. Assuming Bucky Irving doesn't play, maybe Sean Tucker is the guy that you want to lean on in this opportunity. Who was the third guy you said there?
Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, and I feel like, he's going to be a second fiddle to Jaylen Warren, and honestly, at some point they may do more Caleb Johnson in Pittsburgh, their rookie. Bengals, though, is a favorable matchup. That is the one thing that has me wondering about Gainwell. He just hasn't really gotten much run recently. Didn't run the ball once in the last game, but did still have 2 receptions. Maybe if you're thinking the Bengals secondary is bad enough that Gainwell can break one through the air, that would be the reason to go with him over Sean Tucker. But Sean Tucker had 9 carries, 53 yards, had a reception in the last game. Like, he's been involved with Bucky Irving out. So I think if you're looking for the volume, it's Tucker. And if you're looking for getting lucky in a PPR format, it's probably Gainwell. And I'm just eliminating Jordan Mason because he doesn't really catch very many passes, and I think he is not as good at football as Aaron Jones.
All right. Again, text in your fantasy football questions to us for Play Fade Eliminate here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. Wide receivers now. Play Fade Eliminate. Parker Washington. Keon Coleman. Mac Hollins.
So Keon Coleman, did he have a nice game this last week? Because I think I recall seeing that he did a little something. 3 for 46 and did score a touchdown. So for fantasy, you were okay with him there. Parker Washington, with the Travis Hunter injury, is supposed to be getting some pretty considerable run. He went 5 for 76 in the last game. I think that's probably going to be, or excuse me. No, I almost looking at the wrong numbers. He had 7 targets.
He had the punt return. He had the punt return touchdown.
Yeah, he did. And so did well for you in fantasy, for sure. I think he even caught a touchdown as well. So his fantasy numbers looked a lot better than it looked on the field because of his involvement in the punting game. But the 7 targets against Houston's defense, I think you can translate that to say he'll have more of a look against lesser competition. Houston is just not a team that you really want to pass against. So for me, I would say Parker Washington would be the play there. Mac Hollins, I have to admit, I don't know what he's done recently, but yeah, well, crap, he had a great game last week. I don't know that I trust that necessarily. He's going tonight in this game against the Jets for New England. He went 6 for 106 last week, but it included a 54-yard touchdown, or excuse me, a 54-yard play. I don't know if you can expect that to be replicated every week. I think this is going to be kind of an uglier Thursday night game. The Patriots are huge favorites, Andy, but I would probably take the Jets to cover the spread tonight at 12.5.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a letdown game for the Patriots offense. So I would be basically saying, like, Mac Hollins has had a couple of splash games. Do you really trust it? I'm going to go with not on a Thursday night, not in a matchup that's divisional. So I'd lean away from him. I don't think Keon Coleman gets consistent enough, so he's my fade. And my play would be Parker Washington in this spot.
All right. Play Fade Eliminate here on the Big Show KTGR. Text in your fantasy football questions to us. Let's go to quarterbacks. Play Fade Eliminate. Marcus Mariota. Davis Mills. Brock Purdy.
I would be surprised. Is Purdy playing?
Yep.
Really?
That's what I saw.
Wow.
I'll go confirm.
That kind of sucks. I just traded him away in a league, thinking that we weren't going to see him for a while. I thought he was kind of like fake injured, and he was just kind of like benched for Mac Jones a little bit. But he's resumed
playing
practice, and he's playing.
Matt Mayoko covers the team for the NBC affiliate there. He'll return to the starting lineup Sunday versus the Cardinals. Kyle Shanahan just said during the taping.
Just came out within the last hour.
Yep.
That's interesting because I feel like he's definitely the premier player of all those guys. The 49ers are playing the Cardinals, I believe it is, this week. I don't even really know who all is going to be healthy and active for San Francisco. I trust Purdy above Mills Mafia. I trust Purdy above Mariota. And so he's my play. Mariota probably my fade. You'll at least get some rushing out of him, so I don't mind him. Mills, maybe it'll go well. Who do your Texans have this weekend?
At Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a good matchup, but I would probably, like, if Purdy's healthy enough to play, I think they've taken their time with him because they don't mind what they have in Mac Jones. Maybe the loss to the Rams changed their opinion on that. They want to try to stay in this playoff hunt. But Brock Purdy is a different tier of quarterback, in my opinion. I traded him actually in a league. It's a dynasty league, so I don't really, and I'm not doing well. What do you think about long-term for fantasy, Brock Purdy or CJ Stroud? Because Stroud is who I ended up picking up in a trade. You're like,
I would have said Stroud in a heartbeat a couple years ago, but
I know,
man,
it's tough right now, and he is out for this week. Still have that concussion symptom to deal with. I don't care about it short term. I did this in a dynasty league, but it is kind of annoying that Brock Purdy immediately comes back to play. So hey, do it for no other reason. Play Brock Purdy because I just traded him, and I will pay for my sins. That's just the way that the fantasy karma tends to go sometimes.
All right, play, fade, eliminate. Let's go to tight ends here. 573-875-KTGR if you want to text in your fantasy football questions to us. Tight ends, play, fade, eliminate. TJ Hawkinson, Harold Fannin, Colston Loveland.
Man, these are all pretty similar. Fannin's been really solid for the Browns, really involved in their offense, but it's the Browns at the end of the day, and so you can't always expect a big time upside. They're playing the Ravens. The Ravens have kind of locked it down on defense more recently, so we'll hold that thought. TJ Hawkinson with Minnesota. The Vikings matchup this weekend, as I'm looking it up on the fly, is the Bears. That's a favorable one. And that means the matchup for Loveland is less favorable because Minnesota's been pretty decent on defense recently. But I think Loveland has surpassed Kmet, even if Kmet is healthy and gets back into the lineup. Still think there's something there with Kmet, with Loveland, But relative to these other names, I kind of feel like Loveland brings up the rear here. He's not a bad plug and play and just hope that it works out with that connection because he is a rookie. A lot of times we see rookies latter end of the season, they tend to play better and get more involved. Hoping to see the same, by the way, for Luther Burden after he kind of sparked a little bit in the Bears last game. But I think I trust Hawkinson a little bit more. I'll eliminate Loveland. I'll put Hawkinson in the fade category. Fannin, though, could burn you, but he's so involved in their offense. If he's healthy and plays, I would still play him even against the Ravens at home.
Interesting.
I really
like
questionable.
I mean, watch the questionable tag on.
Yeah. Obviously, if he doesn't play, I would look the other direction. And Hawkinson is kind of a tough name to trust because the consistency has not been there as much for him recently. And he's trailed off more than I kind of realized. Just 2 catches in each of his last 3 games. But I still think against the Bears, that's where you can exploit a matchup. Like, he's still out there on the field. He's still playing. I don't mind Hawkinson in that matchup, even after some recent duds.
All right, keep texting us your fantasy football questions, 573-875-KTGR. You can leave a comment on our YouTube channel or on Facebook as well to tell us what you're thinking on fantasy football this weekend. Okay, what are the Cardinals thinking on Brenden Donovan? The word trade keeps popping up around the conversations around him. Should that happen? Should it happen with the Royals? That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local Sports Center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Well, Mizzou men's basketball officially signed Jason Crow Jr. today. Class of 2026 consensus 5-star recruit is ranked as high as number 3 in the nation, according to 24/7 Sports, and is the Tigers' highest-rated recruit since Michael Porter Jr., who's rated 2nd in the class of 2017. The Kansas City Chiefs are preparing to head on the road this weekend for a divisional matchup with the Denver Broncos. According to the Chiefs injury report, running back Isaiah Pacheco did not practice again today, while defensive end George Karlaftis and wide receiver Xavier Worthy were both limited participants at today's practice. The AFC West showdown in the Rockies is set for Sunday at 3:25. And Mizzou women's basketball has officially signed 5 recruits to their 2026 recruiting class. This came out yesterday as it was National Start Signing Day. Recruits Natalia Hodge, Kylie Ford, and Jada Maples are all top 100 prospects, while Cecily Brandamore and Ellie Mueller are round out Coach Kelly Harper's first recruiting class for the Tigers. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew. When the world seems to have been wrecked, call your team you hope you never have to meet. I-70 Towing.
I'm tracking a very warm end to the week with high temperatures in the upper 70s tomorrow through Saturday. That is almost 30 degrees above normal for mid-September. We'll stay dry and a little breezy through the end of the week with a cold front late Saturday night after the Mizzou game. No rain is expected, but temperatures do drop back closer to average in the 50s the rest of next week as we're staying dry. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Chiefs Kingdom lives here.
This is the Chiefs Kingdom.
Touchdown! Kansas City! City. Tune in every Monday night at 6 for the Chiefs Kingdom Show, hosted by the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Hear from head coach Andy Reid and your favorite Chiefs players all season long. After every game, enter the doors to the Chiefs Kingdom. Monday nights at 6. Powered by Macadoodles, Steve's Pest Control, and your total sports station for all things Chiefs. KTGR.
Hey, Lenny. George, good to see you. Yeah, well, it ain't so good to see you, pal. I wish you'd kept quiet all those years. Family Pawn's got all the hunting gear people need to do exactly that. Bows, scopes, ammo, everything. Doing what, George? Look at you, mounted on the wall for everybody to see. Not gonna lie, George. I sort of like hanging around. Their fireplace feels real nice.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
I want to go to Family Pawn.
If you're tired of telling that one guy that, yes, meetings are mandatory, and you're done doing so-and-so's projects because, well, they just couldn't get to it, then maybe it's time to revamp your team with MidmoHires.com. Post your open positions along with a description of the job, pay, location, and other info too. You don't have to put up with someone's shenanigans for much longer. Post your openings now at MidmoHires.com. Great local companies hiring great local people. MidmoHires.com.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yuenglings such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuenglings got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. D.G. Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Kretsch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
The warm scent of maple spiced coffee fills the air. And is that a hint of Caribbean rum? That must be Caldy's Coffee Highlander Grog Brewing, our decadent maple spiced blend that's won fans nationwide. Loved for how it smells and for how it makes you feel. Each cup brings back the comfort of a classic coffee morning. Cozy, nostalgic, maple spiced coffee. Shop Caldy'sCoffee.com for your bag today. Also available in pods.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
If you would like fantasy football advice, text us. 573-875-KTGR. Jason texted and he said his Gauntlet League is no more.
No, Jason, I blame me. I got to take responsibility, is my advice.
He texted us. He needed help with 2 flexes, but he texted us 7 names.
Okay.
First one is Tucker. I don't know if that's Trey Tucker or Sean Tucker.
Trey Tucker probably on
Could
the
be Sean
Raiders.
Tucker, but either way. Mims as well. Kate Otten, Kyle Monongai, Christian Kirk, Romeo Dobbs, Kyle Pitts.
I like Otten. He was pretty dang involved for the Bucs last week. I like Otten. Yeah, that's a lot of players in kind of a similar category where like you got to read into who's starting, who's not. Like Monangai, sure, I like him, but I think Swift looked really good for the Bears, so I'm probably not as apt to start him. Who are the last couple names you said? There were a few guys on there that were
Romeo
interesting.
Dobbs, Kyle
Dobbs
Pitts.
would be.
I would
Yeah,
play Dobbs. Yeah,
I would play Dobbs probably and Otten. I think Pitts. I look every week to see their matchup because he has some games where when he's against a team that gives up to tight ends, that's one thing to look at. And when he's not, he sometimes does absolutely nothing. And Penix is so unreliable. But I think Dobbs is like consistently part of that offense. So I'm with you. I would go Dobbs and Otten. And Jason, sorry about the gauntlet. We made it as far as we could.
Hey, to mid-November, that's not bad.
That's pretty good. I didn't play in a league like that this year, but I might like to next year. That would be kind of fun, just to have that different type of play style to get to enjoy.
All right, so GM meetings in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals entering this offseason with a lot of uncertainty, but I think intrigue, certainly with Ian Bloom at the helm.
Oh, for sure.
But now, does that intrigue mean that you part ways with names that last few years have been mainstays for the Cardinals in their lineup? Do you part ways with one, Brendan Donovan, and trade him and get as much as you can back for him? And potentially, like if you're trading Brendan Donovan, I think you're doing it for pitching, right? Got to. If you ask me, you know who has pitching?
Who has it?
Royals have a surplus of pitching.
They do have enough pitchers and then some, don't they?
They've got a Royals surplus over there in pitching.
All right. So, and look, it may play out that the Cardinals trade Donovan for some AA pieces, and we're all disappointed because it means they really aren't going to try for 2 years, and that's going to be annoying. But let's go down this path because it'll interest Cardinals fans. It'll interest Royals fans. Let us know. I know Jason, he's a Royals guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Weigh in. Brendan Donovan, and like there might be other pieces in the deal, but would you generally say what's the tier that we're talking about here? Brendan Donovan, Noah Cameron. I just want to throw those two names out there and get your reaction.
Oh, man.
Is there something there? I mean, Noah Cameron, tons of team control. He was a rookie last year. Donovan, just 2 years remaining, and you have to pay him in arbitration, but it's not going to be a ton of money, but it's, $5, $6 million in notable. Noah Cameron, team control for a long time. But what is Noah Cameron? Like, he wasn't a top prospect before he came up. He was a good performing AAA pitcher who kept performing well in the big leagues. But if he's left-handed Dakota Hudson, that's going to be annoying if you traded Brendan Donovan for him. He had a 2.99 ERA, Andy, but he had a 4.18 FIP. So
here's the thing. What side has to add in order to complete a fair Noah Cameron, Brendan Donovan trade?
My feeling is the Royals would have to add, and I don't know if they would agree. That's why I'm asking for the temperature check here. Because to the Royals, they could easily say, Noah Cameron's a 2.99 ERA starter with 5 more years, maybe 6. I don't know what point he came up of team control. And
fourth in the Rookie of the Year voting, by the way, Noah Cameron was.
But the Cardinals could say, yeah, but he struck out, 7 guys per 9 innings and had 118 strikeouts or whatever it was in 160 innings. That's not necessarily sustainable to keep pitching with a 2.99 ERA if you don't strike anybody out. Can his strikeout numbers go up? Yes. Can his FIP go down? Yes. Could his ERA join his FIP in the low 4s? Yes. So, the team control is the most attractive part of him. And I think the Royals would be happy to do a trade like that because, let's be real, a year ago, what did they think of Noah Cameron? They didn't probably think he was going to be able to have a 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting type of campaign. So I would still anchor to prospect pedigree and say, Royals would probably have to add a little bit more. But that team control is significant.
It is, which is why I don't know if we're talking Brendan Donovan here, you go for the controllable pitching to move Brendan Donovan. I don't know how willing the Royals would be to part with their controllable pitching right now.
Okay.
It might not be Cameron. Maybe it's a different guy like Stephen Kolek or Ryan Bergert. But mostly you're not there. Now, what I would propose, the Royals should at least I think they should be pushing this a little bit more. And the
Please
Cardinals, I'm sure, could mention it.
Please say it.
What do you want for Chris Bubich?
Oh, nothing. No, he's got 1 year left. I mean, he's going to be a free agent.
Cardinals still need pitchers,
Nope.
though.
Nope.
And that's a pretty good one right there.
Hey,
you
you're
can get
getting
it at a low cost.
You're getting closer, though, to the answer. You're getting
What do you
closer.
mean? Which Royal do you want to? Which Royals pitcher are you talking about?
Keep going.
I'm not going to give him Seth Lugo. No.
Nope. Don't need him.
Oh, are you
Brendan
saying
Donovan Brendan Donovan is the most coveted player in this hot stove. That's what Derek Gould is alluding to.
Well, no, I'm not saying that Chris Bubich for Brendan Donovan should be the trade. I'm saying
you've named almost their whole rotation, but not the guy that I would be asking about if I'm the Cardinals.
If you
got to start
for
here.
Cole Reagans, then
you got to start with Cole Reagans and say, hey, look,
they're not moving him.
I don't think that they are, but I would also be. Can I tell you something else? I would be afraid if they would, because I think the Royals are smarter and sharper about pitching than a lot of other teams with their current front office. And Reagans was the dumpster fire last year. He had a 4.7 ERA. He missed half the year for injury. If the Royals wanted, he's got like 3 years of team control remaining. They signed him to kind of an early extension to where he's making some money, but that would be the Cardinals would have to add to their side on that.
Yes.
But I think if you're the Cardinals, that you have to at least ask, because what if the Royals are like, yeah, you give us a pitching prospect with him, with Donovan. And here's the one thing I think that front office has shown: they're willing to make these types of trades that are baseball trades. India for Singer wasn't on this level, but what if a little bit of the shine is off of Reagans? We should debate this more tomorrow. The shine is not off of Reagans. Or next week.
He had 98 strikeouts in 60 innings. No, come on now. Let's not do this.
Well, then the Cardinals can say, thank you. We'll shop our Brendan Donovan elsewhere if you're not going to give us somebody that's worth it. Yeah. Because if it's Bergert or Kolek, you can forget about it. Like I think that would be a mistake for the Cardinals to trade for guys that they just got in July for a bunch of nothing,
But Brian Bergert looked pretty good. I'm just saying.
He did look good.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. And we'll talk more about it tomorrow. He's Brenden. He's producer Ben. I'm Andy. We're done for now. Looking for savings that actually matter? Head to shopmitmo.com.